Welcome back to the show, people. Hope you're all well. Welcome back to Football's 12th Man. We're doing another Arsenal Roundabout today. And I'm, of course, joined by Lee Gunner and Super Kevin Campbell. Gentlemen, it's been a while since us three have got together, and it's certainly been a while since Kevin and Lee have had a chat. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah,
Lee, how you doing, man? Is your voice any better, bruv, from yesterday?
My throat's killing me. My chest is full of mucus. Other than that, I feel great. Real talk, I don't feel achy or anything. It's self-inflicted. I got too drunk on Friday night, and let's just say it came back up. And my throat's been battered ever since. So, no, I appreciate you having me back on, mate. And Kevin, it's been a while, man.
Long time, Lee.
It's been a while.
Listen, all I seem to do is see you doing different podcasts and stuff like that. I never really get a chance to chat to you anymore. So it's nice to be on with you, mate.
No, thank you. Likewise, man. Likewise.
Absolutely. We've got another super chat in here saying, great to see the Everton legend, KC, on the panel. Man, you're a footballing legend to me, man. Whether you're Arsenal or Everton, it's football for me, KC.
I've got 3 teams in the Prem now.
Mate.
It's crazy.
Can't keep up, man. You can't keep up, Kev. Do you know what I'm saying? Listen, boys, it's looking good at the moment. And yesterday was unbelievable, to be honest, in parts of the game. Felt we were really good. Although I thought Chelsea were pouring quite a lot of the game, thought Arsenal just dominated. And certain individual players at the moment are really turning it up for Arsenal. And I thought that 2 in particular I wanted to talk about were Saliba and Thomas Partey. Now, I thought Ben White was great yesterday. I actually thought Gabriel was really good as well. And going forward, Gabriel Jesus, I know he ain't scoring at the moment, but I've never seen someone work this hard. I think he works harder than Alexis Sanchez even did. This guy is ridiculous. Never seen someone with work rate so good. But the reason I mentioned these 2 players in particular, I'll come to you first, Kev, because me and you spoke even before Arteta was appointed, right? And we said, we ain't replaced Sol Campbell and Patrick Vieira. We haven't since the Highbury days. I think Partey and Saliba are the closest we've had to those 2 players in terms of their attributes, their stature, and at the moment, the way they're performing. They've been absolutely brilliant. Saliba all season, Partey when he is playing. That, for me, has been, when they're in the team anyway, one of the reasons why we're looking so good at the moment, because we look to have a spine now. And of course, they're a massive part of the way that we're playing. Saliba yesterday was an absolute monster for me. Mm-hmm. But Thomas Partey, I actually gave him man of the match because I just thought he did everything right. He bullied Chelsea. Their midfield was outstanding because of Thomas Partey. And I felt that every single time I was watching the game, I was going, Partey again. Oh, Partey again. Partey's got the ball again. Partey's won the ball again. Partey's passed the ball again. Man of the match for me by far. I know it was given to Saliba and fair play because he was wicked. But these 2 players at the moment, Kev, these 2 players are looking very, very good for the Arsenal, mate.
Dan, there's not, and I'll ask you and Lee this. When's the last time Arsenal have been to a rival and really dominated? I know in the last third we weren't as clinical as we probably should have been. It could have been more. But dominate possession and dominate the game territorially, quality on the ball. And when we did give the ball away, we got the ball back very quickly. And I think it's been such a long time since we've had a centre-back who calms everybody down. I know he's only young, but he makes everybody else seem calmer. Ramsdale seems a calmer person. Ben White playing beside him has been excellent. Gabriel, I know he's got to be the aggressive one because Saliba's chilled. But I think he makes him better. And Zinchenko coming back for his first game back, I thought he was excellent as well. But having that at the back, Dad, gives us a platform. And then you say, okay, where are we going to go from there? You look at Thomas Partey in the midfield. Obviously, Xhaka's got kind of a new role, push further a little bit. So Thomas Partey, not only does he have to break play up, he has to get the ball through the lines and get us playing. And I'm going to say this now. There's nobody better in the Premier League than him at doing it. There's nobody better. Manchester City, Rodri is an excellent player. But look at the players he's got around him. He's got players around there. Gundogan can come in there and he'll do a bit. But there's only one master, one general in there, and that's Thomas Partey. And both of them were excellent. Some really good performances. But Dan, I think you're right. These are the closest to Sol Campbell and Patrick Vieira without being Sol Campbell and Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're ever going to see another Sol Campbell and Patrick Vieira, certainly not Arsenal. But for me, when you look at what we have had in Mustafis and Skilachis and God knows what, and the Coquelins and Alex Songs and even the Granit Xhakas of old, Kolasinac, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're now seeing Saliba and Gabriel that can actually defend and that have actually got a partnership going. Thomas Partey for me. And when Partey, Lee, and Odegaard and Xhaka play in that midfield, it looks to me that all of them are as important and integral to each other. But I want to ask your opinion on Saliba, mate, because I know you're a massive fan. Oh, man, Rolls-Royce defender. I mean, people are talking Bentleys, Rolls-Royce. This guy is... yesterday, bruv, I just thought the guy was unbelievable, mate.
Do you know what's crazy with him, right? My man of the match personally was Xhaka, by the way. I thought he was
fair enough.
brilliant.
I thought he was quality as well.
I loved the way he started winding them all up. Like when Jorginho was crying when he was giving it all of this to the crowd, I was like, get out of the way, man. I loved that. I loved it when he had Chalobah in the corner, just deliberately wasting time. Like I like that. We haven't seen Arsenal have balls like that, and I can't remember the last time we went to an away ground. Like Casey said, when was the last time we went to a rival and battered them? Because that's what we did. Right, yes, the scoreline says 1-0, but one shot they had, and that was it. One shot on target. Right, I nearly said Leno. Ramsdale could have had a deck chair out and a cigar on the go. Like, but just in terms of Saliba, bro, he is unbelievably good. Like, it is a joke. Like the size of the guy, you think, okay, well, he's going to be physical, yeah. That's standing. He's 6'4". He's a big lad. But bro, he's so good with his feet. Yeah, he's so good with composure. Like his reading of the game, though, for me is what makes him so good. That makes him levels better than most defenders in the league because it calms you down. Like we said, it just chills everyone out. The amount of times I've seen him in games this season where he just drops a shoulder, spins, and he's gone past 3. And I'm like, you're doing this on the edge of your box, mate. Like you shouldn't be this good. Like maybe we should put him up front every now and again just to confuse the opposition. I don't know.
Lee, look what he does when he goes up front. He bends one in the top corner.
He was jinking past everyone. It was just mad to watch. Like, but I love him, man. I love the fact that he's just chilled. Whenever that guy's got the ball, I'm not worried. Yeah, Gabriel, on the other hand, has a bozo moment every now and again, and I think if he gets rid of that, he's a very good player. I mean, the other night against Forest? Yeah, against Forest, he passed the ball straight to Lingard, and Ben White saved, flew in straight away. He's been unreal this season, by the way, Ben White. Unbelievably good this season. But if he can cut that out, them stupid mistakes, then he is good. He's very good, Gabriel, and I think we can see a good partnership there. For me, I still think Tierney should be in at left back over Zinchenko. Yeah, I think he's unbelievably better than most left backs, probably all of them in the world. I love Tierney. He's the best left back on the planet, in my head anyway. But Zinchenko does offer something different, obviously inverted. And I see a lot of people saying that Tierney doesn't invert as well and blah, blah. Tierney's so underrated. And with the injuries...
I'm with you.
People say, we were talking in the summer, weren't we, Dan? And people were saying, get rid of Tierney, he's always injured. Before the season started, he'd played more Premier League games than Thomas Partey since Partey had arrived. So it was like, well, why don't we get rid of Partey as well then? So
and Tomiyasu, because he's always injured.
Tomiyasu as well. But Tomiyasu's a bit of a weird one because I don't see where he's going to play now, even if he's fit. Because if Zinchenko and Tierney are fit, I don't think he'll get in at left back. Yeah, Ben White's fit. He ain't getting in at right back, and he definitely ain't getting in at centre back. Otherwise, Ben White would be playing centre back, and he'd get in at right back.
Do you know what though, Gunnar? This is what we need though in across the pitch. Yeah. We got options now in our defence.
We've never had before.
We've never had that before. Exactly that.
I've had a mate of mine, Ryan. He goes home and away, up and down the country, and he says to me, "Are you happy yet?" Every time Arsenal win a game, he messages me. Every time Arsenal lose, which ain't been often this season, he disappears. So he goes, "Are you happy yet?" I said, "Mate, I've been saying for years, if Arsenal get in a title challenge, I'll be happy. We smashed that stadium down to compete." Yeah, and that's all I want. I just want Arsenal to compete. And at the moment, we are. But I do want to just reiterate something, right, that Gary Neville said, and people have been going mad about it. We bottled 4th place last season with 3 to go. So I'm cautious about being top of the table because 2 injuries and we're done. Saliba and Partey, the 2 main guys in that team at the moment for me. If they're out for any sustained period of time, I think we're going to drop right down. If Partey's out for, say, 3 months and Saliba's out for 4 months till the end of the season or something from January, then I think we're in big trouble because I think he's been probably the most important player in our team, Saliba. Look how solid that defence is. We've got the best defence in the league. Like, that's not something you could say about Arsenal for the last 10, 15 years, really, is it? Like, do you know what I mean? We were shipping goals left, right, and centre. And this is why I get the ump sometimes. And I get the ump with players. I want to ask you, Kevin, right? I want to ask you a question because I've seen Wrighty come out. I've seen Dixon. I've seen other ex-players, Keown, come out and say the aim's top 4. The aim's top 4. Now we're top of the table. Yeah, I feel that these players and yourself, with the media influence that you have on TV and stuff like that, I feel like ex-players, and you were in a title-winning team that ended Liverpool's dominance, by the way. Yeah, a fantastic season. Cup double as well, Cup Winners' Cup. So you've won and been at that highest point. I feel that players that have done that, and the ones like yourself, Wrighty, Keown, Dixon, that have got media influence, I feel that they should be now doing our work, really, and saying, look, now go and get us some signings. Yeah, because top 4 ain't the aim now. Yeah, top 4 is not the aim.
You've got to try and win it.
That's my point. But
that's got to be the aim, Lee. That's got to be the aim.
Voice. But now it's when people like you sit on Sky or something, then there's now go and get the Cronkies to get the money out. I want to hear something like that. You know what I mean?
But here's the crazy thing, Lee and Dan. You're going to hear players talk about top 4 and all that kind of thing. Do they actually think that Arsenal can win it? Yes, they do. But then what they're not going to do is put the extra pressure of them saying, yeah, you're going to go and win the title, go and win the title. Can they win it? Do they want Arsenal to win it? You bet your life they want Arsenal to win it. Until Arsenal qualify for the top 4, great. And then what happens after that? Listen, we all know Arsenal squad is not strong enough. We know that. Now, if we go into the break, top of the league, I'm expecting Mikel Arteta to get on a plane, mate. He's got to go over there. He's got to go over there and say, look, we're top of the league. Make sure we get busy in January. 2-3 players can make a massive difference to us. A huge difference.
You know what, Casey? The thing is, if we don't do that, then I'm not really looking at Arteta. I'm looking at what this ownership is all about. Because that, for me, shows a complete lack of ambition. When we've put ourselves in that situation, they're going to do one or two things. Bloody hell, we're in a title race here. Yeah, what do you need to go? What players do you need? That's the option number 1. Option number 2 is, bloody hell, have you first? Well, at least we know we get 4th then. Have a good season. See ya. That is what I don't want to fucking see, right? That will piss me right off. So I want to see the Cronkies going, what do you need, Mikel, for a title push here?
But this is why I said what I just said a minute ago, Danny, and sorry to cut you off. That's why I said it, because the Cronkies are not going to dip into their pocket. If they're not getting pressured, they're not going to sit there and go, oh, here you go, Mikel, here's 130 mil. Go and buy a couple of players, mate. So now the fans have to do it. Well, the fans are buzzing that we're top, laughing at every other team, like Tottenham yesterday, Man United, which is cool. I understand that. Right? That's part of the game and part of being a fan and that. But if we don't end up winning the league and we end up 3rd or 2nd, and Man United and Tottenham end up in that top 4 as well, we're laughing at them for nothing because they've done the same as us. So in my head, I'm like, well, now the fans have to pressure the owners to get. If the fans are happy for sitting top after 13 games and they're happy with just top 4, and the owner's happy, we're not getting much in January, which is why I said about the ex-players need to come out and give it, because the ex-players have more forward.
But again, Lee, and I think you're kind of answering your own question in a sense, because whether the ex-players come out and say it or not, if their timeline isn't to invest, they ain't invested. We've seen what happened last January, didn't we? Last January, where
that was a disaster.
we were expecting players to come in, and we were going for Vlahovic and all this, and we signed nobody, and he ended up catching up with us. So we can't make the same mistake again. So every chance I get, Dan, you know, Lee, trust me, you're going to hear me say Arsenal have to strengthen. They've got to strengthen. For that. No, I rate you for that, because you have more pull in the media than we do. So if you say something on Sky Sports, that's going everywhere. If I say something on my tiny little YouTube channel, it's not going very far. Hey, it's going everywhere.
Shut up, mate. You're trending every week.
Your voice goes a lot of places.
You're trending every week, Gunnar, aren't you? I'm saying else you've said. And listen, I'm going to bring up this from Sophie because Sophie's just brought up, big up Sophie and big up the Highbury squad, by the way. Get yourself over there and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Says, complaining about the owners when the owners are the reason that Mikel still has a job and Edu and Garlic have been able to support Mikel to build the team that he has. Listen, you're right. And I wasn't complaining at the owners, Soph. I was saying that I will be if they don't support us with a title challenge in January. I think every fan has a right to complain about the ownership there. If they're going to sit back and go, well, they're doing it, they're top. Hang on, we're not going to be top for much longer if we get a couple of injuries. If we need to go and sign at least, in my opinion, 2 or 3 players in January so that we have a chance of a title challenge. And if we don't have the funds to do that, then I'm sorry, I'm going to call out the Cronkies and say, why? Where's your ambition? Is your ambition to just qualify for Champions League? Because if that's your ambition, why did you sack Arsene Wenger? Because he did it every year for 20 years. We need to go for a title challenge. That's why I wanted Wenger and Emery out, by the way, not because they couldn't get us 4th, because they couldn't win as a league. That was why I wanted them out. I didn't go out with a banner outside, when we come second to Leicester saying, well, hey, Champions League, we're in it. We come second. I was pissed off because we come second to Leicester. So that was the way I see it, and that's the way I still see it. And if we're in a title challenge this season, which at the moment we are, whether that's sustainable is a different question. We are in a title race right now. I don't care what anybody says. The media are saying it. Talk Sports, Sky Sports, everyone on Twitter, they're talking about Arsenal being serious this season. So prove that we're serious about winning it. And that's what I want to see from my owners. That's all I ever ask, is an ambitious owner that wants to win. And that's why I said that Roman was brilliant for Chelsea. And everyone says, oh, it's rubbish. I hate to be run like that. What, 15 trophies in 15 years? Oh, yeah, but you have 15 managers. I don't care.
I'll take
Give me
15
trophies,
I'll take
mate.
the 15 trophies.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
15 years, I'll tell you.
This is the point, though. It's like, if the owner of Chelsea is pushing out, we're going to win everything, then the fan base go, right, we're winning everything. And if we don't, he's getting sacked. So they're all on the same page. But when our owner's pushing out, well, it don't matter, top 4. And then you've had Arsene Wenger getting top 4's a trophy, all of that one. Now the fan base is, well, it's top 4, even though we're sat top. If you go and ask 99% of fans, if you just go up to random fans and pluck 100 of them and say, Arsenal fan, yeah, cool, we're top of the table at the minute. Do you think we'll win it? No, top 4's the aim. No, it's not. The aim should now be moved because we are top and we've been the best team to watch this season. We've been the best team in the league. We've got some of the best players in the league on form at the moment. Yeah, I'm being positive. Clip it.
No, but I know, Lee. God, I'm quiet.
Amazing what happens when they actually start doing what I want, isn't it? But that's all I want. Just get. And the last time, Dan, you just said Leicester 2016. We're nearly in 2023. That was the last time we even were close to getting in a title race. Yeah, and we
all remember it. Danny Welbeck on Valentine's Day. We all remember it against Leicester.
Mate, I was in Tenerife. I went mad, knee sliding across the bar, and because I got there first, I was there with my girlfriend at the time, and we were sat right at the front. And as I've turned around, there was just people I was like, oh my days, like what have I just done? But that was the last time we were in a title race. Yeah, and that was 7 years ago. And people sat there and spun that failure, and it was a failure. That Tottenham bottled a two-horse race and all that, or 3, whatever. Right? They didn't. We were top for the majority of that season. We bottled it, but it softens the blow, the fact that we didn't win it, and Wenger was still idolised at that point at the club and the fans. So let's laugh at Tottenham bottling it instead. No, we bottled it. We were top pretty much all season and bottled it. And I do not want that happens again this season. I've waited 7 years since then. I've waited nearly 19 years since we last won the league. I want to feel that again. Like, come on, man. I want to win the league. So let's get it done. Let's go and get some players.
Guys, do you think we're top of the league and all that, that's great. But do you think there's an even bigger picture? I know Sophie complained about the owners and stuff, but do you think there's an even bigger picture here? Because where Arsenal need to go, we need a stronger squad anyway, no matter what. So seeing the way the squad are gelling together, the team are gelling together, shouldn't it always be in the ownership's mind to add quality to the squad? Whether we're top or you're fifth.
That's fantastic, Casey.
That's a great point.
If you're selling this for €1, right, and every week it's great for 13 weeks. Then for 4 weeks in a row, you still go back and you buy it and it's rubbish. Yeah. And then you do that for a whole year. But then next year it goes up to €2 and you still keep coming back. And then every couple of weeks it's rubbish again. Then it's really good. Then the next year it's €10 and you keep coming back and buying it. And again, for 10 weeks it's decent. And then for 4 it's rubbish. And it tastes a little bit off key. But you keep buying it. Whose fault's that? The seller or the buyer? And that is Arsenal ownership and fan base. in my opinion.
But I think as well, Lee,
not going to do the above and beyond because the fan base lap up 4th place.
I think as well, Lee, like what was disappointing and this is me being negative again here, maybe I shouldn't say it, but I do think that Arteta and Edu disappointed in the last January window. Now, whether that was the ownership not allowing them to spend or whatever, I think personally we had money for Vlahovic if we wanted it. It was never going to happen. He was going to Juventus, right? But to literally get nobody and allow Aubameyang to go and not replace him was very disappointing. And what was even more disappointing was the fact that Arteta had come out in press conference and said that we have to utilise every transfer window. And we didn't utilise that one. So we need to see this one being megally utilised now. And I understand that it's hard in January and some players don't want to come if they're cup tied. I don't want to hear that this time. We heard that last time. We need to go and get people that want to come and win this title. And I'm sure there'll be players that are lining up to come and play for the Arsenal. Whether their teams will let them go is obviously a different question. But for me, when you've got players that are running out of contracts that we've been linked with, Tielemans, Zaha, take both of those. Danilo over in Brazil is apparently looking like it could be quite close. Mudryk, Maddison, please, man, Maddison. Oh my God, what a player that guy is. Well, oh, we got Odegaard. Don't compare the two. There's nothing like Odegaard. Oh, I always get that.
One scores a hat for the goals every season and one don't.
Mate, I'm with you. I like Odegaard. I know you're not a fan, Lee. I like Odegaard, but again, yesterday should have scored. I'm sorry, you can't do that. You've got to have a right foot in that scenario and put that in. But that's a different story for me.
I said that very quickly. I said that if that was Ozil, he would have dropped his shoulder. He wouldn't even touch the ball. Yeah, and I didn't like Ozil towards like the last couple of years at Arsenal. I was like, get him out. Right? But I was like, it dropped a shoulder. The keeper would have just flown straight past him. The ball would have gone straight past the keeper and he would have tapped into an empty net. Look at that Ludogorets goal that he scored. That was a very similar scenario.
Yeah, where he flicked it up.
Yeah.
Listen, I like Odegaard. Technically, I think he's brilliant. But when I look at what he should be doing, I think he should be putting in more goals. Kev, let me ask you about that because me and Lee talk about this. I love James Maddison. So does Gunnar, right? I don't see him coming to Arsenal. I don't think we're looking at him. Well, I don't have any ITK, but I'll be amazed if we do sign him. Now we've got Vieira and Odegaard, who in my eyes I think Arteta sees as the two. But Odegaard, do you think he needs to get on the score sheet a bit more? I appreciate he scored a couple this season and it's looking better.
He's got more than a couple, Dan. He's got more than a couple. Look, I think there's sometimes where he needs to take the game by the scruff of the neck a bit more. That's for sure. I think that's really important. He's the captain of Arsenal, especially, after the first game at Palace, where the chance came through to him and he was trying to pass it as opposed to shooting. The fan base kind of said, you've got to score more. And to be fair, he has scored a few goals. But there's still more to come from him, Dan. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, and which is fair enough. But there is still more to come from him. And isn't it great? We could be having these conversations and we're top of the league. So that means there's room for improvement within our squad. I like Tielemans. Listen, I like Maddison. I think we can accommodate quite a few players in our squad because it's about squad. You see, Man City's squad, all of them are starters. If you look at it, you know what I mean? A lot of them are starters, but they know they've got to play the squad game. And that's where we have to get to.
100%, man. There you go, Lee. It's happening already. Dan, get a life and get off Odegaard's back. All I've done is score. He said he should have scored.
He scored
against Forest, and I bigged him up, and now I'm slagging him off. Unbelievable.
No, I don't like him. I don't rate him. I think, listen, he's good on the eye. Cool. I've seen Bergkamp. That's my standard. Like I've seen Bergkamp, even Merce was unplayable at times, man. What a player. Yeah. And when I see people say, oh, you got to rate Odegaard, you've got an agenda. It's like, mate, come on. Like the guy scored 4 goals, all against relegation fodder. Where all 3 of them teams are promoted last season. Yeah. And then when Maddison scores goals, when he scores against crap, well, he scored against us actually, and we're top. And he does it year in, year out. For me, Odegaard is just a younger, worse version of Mesut Ozil at Arsenal. Mesut Ozil was great at Real Madrid. Arsenal never really lived up to the hype for me. Like I'm being serious, Dan. He never lived up to the hype. I used to see him week in, week out. Never really got it. But Odegaard for me disappears he hides. That's probably the best word to say. I feel he hides in games, especially bigger games. I don't think he was that good at the weekend. I can't lie. Yeah, I did not think he was that good at the weekend, but it is what it is. We won. Who cares?
I think his work rate is nothing like Mesut Ozil's. I think it's much better than Mesut Ozil's, and I think he's technically really good. Where I get frustrated with him is I want him to shoot more, and I think he sometimes when he does shoot, he needs to get it better. And there's sometimes he taps it, and you think, "Oh, come on, you've got a left foot on you there. You've got a bullet of a left foot. Use it." And that's where it gets frustrating. Then he does it against Forest, and I'm like, well, "Hey, keep that going." Then against Chelsea, it comes again, and he messes it up and puts it over the bar. I need to see a little bit of consistency, I suppose, is what I'm getting at, Kev. And I think he'll come. I like him. I do. He's 23, is he? So he's not, like a 33-year-old player.
He's
So
24 next month, I think.
24. So he's not a kid, but at the same time, he's still got some years in him at the Arsenal. And I do like him. I think his work rate's great, and I think he does lead by example, which of course is why he's got the armband on. But I want to talk to you boys about a title race and what that might look like at Arsenal, right? So Kev, let's start with you. Like, I'm looking at everybody else around us at the moment, and normally it's about looking at what you're doing, but I can't help but look at what everyone else is doing because it's funny. Right? They look everybody else looks rubbish. Like, I'm sorry, like Man City and Arsenal were playing very well. And actually, I'll add Newcastle to that because they, with one game a week, look very, very good. And they're serious for top 4, by the way. They ain't just come in
January, that's for sure.
They will spend in January massively, right? So I'm looking at that now thinking, I think these 3 teams are the best teams in the league. After that, you've got Tottenham that it ain't sustainable doing that to go into a title, but Conte will probably give them a chance at top 4. Man United, you don't know what you're going to get. Oh, they're back. And then Unai Emery walks in and blitzes them. So they're not back. Chelsea, they looked terrible yesterday. Liverpool, you don't know what you're going to get. They still ain't got the defence and the midfield good enough for me to look at mounting a challenge. So what does it look like to you at the moment, Kev, in terms of Arsenal and whereabouts they're looking at challenging, mate?
There's 2 teams. There's 2 teams who have got the consistency at the moment. Before it was Liverpool, wasn't it? Liverpool had the consistency. And even though Liverpool fell behind, you knew that they could get it going. And once they got on a roll, they could rattle wins off. The problem with the league right now is the consistency amongst the so-called top, the big 6, is nowhere to be seen other than Arsenal, Man City. And out of that, after 13 games, Dan, we're there on merit because we have been the best team. It's that simple. Now, I think this title race is going to come down to some of the others. Because any given day, some of the others could produce performances to knock somebody off. We've seen that. I mean, do you remember the Newcastle Man City game earlier on in the season? Where Man City were 1-0 up, then Newcastle came back, blitzed them, 3-1 up, and then City ended up getting a draw. That could happen against anybody in that space. So I think that's going to be the key. The key for Arsenal is you've got to strengthen and we've got to keep the key players fit. That's the key for us. Key for Man City is they know the course and distance. Even if they get injuries, they know how to navigate their way around it. Haaland's on the bench. They still navigate their way around it.
The bench is ridiculous. Let's be honest. Mahrez, Foden, and Haaland all sat on the bench at the weekend.
There's 2 substitutions coming on. You look at the side, Haaland and Foden are coming on. I was talking to Mr. Dorr at Forest, and they said, asked him, how did you enjoy the Etihad? He said, I was enjoying it until I saw, the board go up, and then who's coming on? Kevin De Bruyne. The 5-0 down. Kevin De Bruyne's coming on. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. Their strength is unbelievable. Now, what we have to do, we have to try and negate that a little bit by being a team and then adding to it. That's what we've got to do. We have to add to it.
Yeah, massively. And, I think that I'm going to bring a couple of these super chats in now because there are a couple of come in relation to that. Chaitanya, big up yourself, man. Hope you're well, bruv. It says, one player you'd want Arsenal to sign in January for a title charge. Also, who are your World Cup semi-finalists and winner predictions? Cheers, Dan, Lee, and KC. Lee Gunner, you start with you, man. What are you going for that?
Ivan Toney. Swap Eddie and Nketiah and 30 mil. I reckon you'd maybe 40 mil. You'd get Ivan Toney. And Ivan Toney, you could play him with Jesus as well and Martinelli. and Saka. You can find a system. There's a way around it. There has to be. And not only that, we've got a long season coming up after the World Cup. We've got a lot of games coming thick and fast. So we're going to need another striker that is capable. I don't think Eddie is. I rate Ivan Toney highly, man. He's a top player. And he's not just a good goal scorer. He is a top footballer. Yeah, he's got the technique. He's got the vision. His passes are underrated. And if you get a penalty, it's nailed on, isn't it? so yeah, I'm going Ivan Toney. Yeah, as for World Cup, I want Argentina to win it. Other than that, I don't really care because we ain't going to win it. So yeah, I want Messi to win a World Cup, man. My favourite ever player.
Listen, I'm actually with you on a couple of points there. Between Zaha and Toney, I think are two great shouts. I think Zaha is a massive gooner, and he just seems to score and just know what he's doing in the Premier League, and I think would give us a strength in depth across the front three. As for the World Cup, yeah, Argentina are actually my tip. They lost in 36 games now. And if Messi wins, then maybe actually people can look at him and say, yeah, he is the best player ever, because they seem to want to disrespect him all the time, and I don't understand it. For me,
well,
unbelievable
the model keeps stat padding goals until this season, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? So...
Exactly, mate. Exactly. They all love him. And listen, rightly so, he's fantastic as well. But for me, Messi all day long. Kev, what about you with that question, man? What are you going with?
Listen, I love Zaha. I do. I think he could add something totally different to what we've got, and he can play down the middle. And at times we could tinker with Jesus wide, even, to cause some problems. I like the Toney shout though, Lee. I've got to say, be crying out for somebody who we can knock it up to, play a little bit different when teams can make life difficult for us. Get crosses in the box, somebody who can head it. I think that will be a really good shout to try and get Ivan Toney. So I'll go with Ivan Toney as opposed to Zaha, who's going to be on a free. World Cup, do you know what, guys? I can't see past Brazil. I just can't. I think Brazil, squad-wise, they're strong. I think because Argentina have gone all those games unbeaten, for them to win the tournament, they're going to have to go another big chunk of games. And in world football, sometimes that's not the case. So I still think Brazil. I'd love England to do well, but the way things are going, I just don't see it, unfortunately. I just don't see it. The form going into the tournament hasn't been good. Certain players aren't playing at the clubs, and they're going to be mainstays and all this. Even discussing whether Maddison should go or not. Are they crazy?
It should be one of the first names on the team sheet.
Exactly. But yet, he doesn't fit in with this. I can't believe it. All the stats.
If Ben White and Maddison don't go, you just sack
Forget it. Yeah,
just sack him. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to do anything with him anyway.
I would have sacked him anyway. I would have given it to Scott Parker for the World Cup and then gone to find a long-term replacement after that. At least we would have got good football if we're not going to win it. Do you know what I mean?
It's mad.
At least we'll have a couple of shots because this is just going to be crap, mate. We already know that.
You'll know the back five is going to be Trippier, Shaw, Maguire, Dyer, and Stones. It is. That's the back five. We all know it. Doesn't matter how good Tomori is. Ben White
will be on the plane, even though he ain't played all season.
Yeah, Calvin Phillips will be there because he's kicked it twice. It's mad. Right. It is mad. No, it's not looking good for me, man. Let's get through these last two. We've got Southern Gooner. Big up yourself, man. It says, shout out to you, good brothers. It says, reinforcements are needed to ensure a healthy challenge. Kroenke and the regime needs to cut the checks so that we can challenge for this title. Demand the cash to be splashed. I love that. Absolutely. Spot on and facts. And this one has come in. It says, big up. Who will get relegated this season? Kev, I wanted to ask you that because we did a prediction on Highbury squad and I tipped Everton to go down, much to your shock and horror. And it's looking like they might be all right, man. But Forest, who I said I thought would be safe, it ain't looking too good, man. I went for Forest, Bournemouth and Everton and it looked like I might be fairly right with two of them, but the Everton one might be all right, man.
Yeah, but you know the funny thing about what's going on at the bottom? You win one game and you jump. You do. It's so tight at the moment. I think once we get the World Cup out of the way and then we come back, then you're going to start to see the separation, the bottom lads. I tip Forest to get 17th just to stay up by the nick of their teeth, Dan. I think Everton going to be all right. Everton are going to have to go again. Just, Calvert-Lewin pulled up again, injured. Just the firepower. They just don't seem to have the firepower right now, although they've been pretty solid at the back and in midfield. Listen, I tip Bournemouth, but Bournemouth have been doing okay. I even tipped Brentford. I wasn't sure about Brentford's second season syndrome, but they're doing okay. So what do I know, Dad? Honestly,
Yeah,
what
listen,
do I
what do
know?
we all know?
Until we nick their striker and then they're doomed.
Do you know what Southampton?
Yeah.
Do you know what Southampton?
Southampton are the ones for me. Yeah.
Southampton are obviously Ralph's lost his job, and rumor has it Nathan Jones at Luton might go in there. So that remains to be seen how that works out. But you know, it's going to be a fight to the end because I'm telling you, there's teams there now who maybe look safe, but one wrong result and they're all back in it. So it's probably 3 of 7.
Fair play, man. I think if you was to ask me now, I'd go with Forest, Bournemouth, and Southampton. I think Leeds have got a little bit of something about them that just says never say die. I think Jesse March is very, very lucky in a way to still be there, but he must be doing something because the other day that fight back was unreal. They're fighting. When you see fighting spirit, you know they've got a chance. And I think Everton, I've changed my mind because one thing that they did, I thought was actually going to give them half a chance, was they bought defenders that can actually defend. Cody and Tarkowski can both actually defend, and it might not win them games, but you ain't going to lose them that many. So I think Everton might be all right, man. Lee, what would you go with?
I think Wolves are doomed, mate. Yeah, they don't score enough goals.
Good shout, you know.
Just looking now, they've scored 8 goals in 14 games. Jesus Christ. That is
and
mad.
They've got Costa back. Desperate.
And their best player, Pedro Neto, I'd take him at Arsenal in a heartbeat. That kid's brilliant. Yeah, but like he's out injured again, isn't he? So yeah, I think they're pretty doomed, man. 8 goals in 14 games. That's relegation.
That's relegation. Performance.
They conceded 22 goals in that period as well, and they've got us coming up at the weekend. There's another 5 going in. So
man.
I think they're pretty done. Yeah, they need to get a couple of goal scorers or a midfielder that scores, and where they're getting that, who's going to want to go to Wolves? Like when you could go to
new manager as well. New manager in now, in it. So and there was no bounce. And there was no bounce.
There was no bounce. There was no bounce.
2 seconds.
Yeah, of course, man. Casey, let me ask you this one because this is coming. It says Kev, Lee, and Dan. Do you think we have a chance of getting Bellingham from Dortmund in January or the summer? Listen, if money was no option, I'd love him. I like this player a lot, Casey.
Very good player. I like him, but I think he's going to be a bit too rich for us, if I'm honest. They're talking 100 mil around that for him. It's going to be a bit too rich for us. I think all the clubs in Europe are going to be in for Bellingham, and that might push the price up even. So I think that's going to be a bit too rich for us, Dan.
Fair play, man. Listen, if we win a title, then maybe in the summer we can go in with some money. But, you know, because Maddison and Bellingham, I'd come tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
For Rice as well. Go and grab him. Get them all.
Yeah, this is it. Go and get all the English boys.
He's the one I'd like.
Yeah.
He's the one I'd really like. Declan Rice. Him and Partey in midfield.
He'll be at Chelsea before much longer. Rice, unfortunately.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right. Just lastly, boys, before we do finish up, because I do need to finish up. The Europa League, Man United have drawn Barcelona. Can you believe this? Man United have drawn Barcelona. The 2 teams that everyone said that we should be worried about in that competition have drawn each other. So that's good news for us. So I wanted to ask you about your kind of confidence in that competition. Lee, start with you, man.
11 years ago, mate, that was the Champions League final.
Scary, isn't it?
Mad, isn't it? That's how any Man United fan who's happy with the state of their club in that time, well, I'm not going to say anymore. I'll probably be banned from YouTube. But no, I actually find it mad that Man United have fallen so mad, like dropped so quick, because when we were growing up, it was Arsenal, Man United, wasn't it? I mean, it's like they've just fallen off a wagon, man. It's mad. And it's kind of sad at the same time, but who cares? We're top, and we're in the next round. They're not going to be, because Barca are going to batter them.
You reckon, yeah?
Absolutely spank them. Lewandowski up against Harry Maguire. Well, then again, let's say that Lazaro has been decent this season after Saharo Martinez, isn't he? Or Lisandro Martinez, sorry.
Lisandro, yeah.
And Varane, it's just whether Varane's fit. If Varane's fit, he's unreal. Yeah, and that Lisandro has been brilliant for them, but nah, they're not good enough, man. They'll get played off the park in both rounds, and I think if we got them, that'd be hard as well. I can't lie. Yeah, they've got a quality team. Yeah, and they play good football. then listen, it's maybe a step too far to get out of a group with Inter and Bayern, but for me, they're favourites to win this.
Fair play, man. I just want to quickly touch, Kev, if I can, on Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus getting a call up for Brazil. Very, very happy. Gabriel didn't manage to get in, and Firmino drops out. I know there's some Arsenal fans and are going, I don't want that. I don't want Martinelli to get injured. Trust me, that kid would be in so much depression if he doesn't make the World Cup. Like, I don't think people understand what it means for people like Gabriel Martinelli to get called up. I'm actually really glad that he is. What's your thoughts on it, KC?
I'm pleased because he's fulfilling some of that potential that he's shown. You know, there was, if you look at this time last season, people saying, what kind of having a go at Arteta because, you know, was Martinelli going to even be involved? You know, so look, I think Martinelli has started the season fantastically well. He's played himself with his form into the Brazil squad. And we always know he's got the talent to be a superstar. Now, this might just be his coming out party at the World Cup. Wouldn't that be great? And then he comes back and he's full of it because he's full of energy, the kid, isn't he? He's unbelievable. Yeah. So I'd love him to go and have a great World Cup and then come back and shoot us to the title. Why not? Shoot us to some silverware. You know, come back and with a big reputation and prove yourself back here. I'd love that.
Yeah, fair play, man. Lee, I know he's one of your favourite players, and likewise one of my favourite players, Martinelli. Jesus, I think, has taken him from good to brilliant this season. I really have been impressed with what Gabriel Martinelli's done. Do you think that he could come back from that World Cup and take us to silverware, as Casey's saying?
I hope so. That's why I've been screaming and crying and protesting against managers before. So that's all I want, Dan. That's all I want. I've said it for years, man, when I was protesting against Wenger. Just get us in a title race. Just get us in a title race. And I've said this so many times, but people don't listen. They take a tiny little 15-second clip that's totally out of context. They don't know the before and after of what I've said. Throw it on the internet, get a viral tweet.
I know what that's like, mate.
It's crazy, man. Like, and the thing is, I've said it since we were protesting to get him out, Wenger. I said, just get us in a title race. That guy wasn't the guy to do it right to death. Unai Emery wasn't the guy. Although I do think he should have been backed a little bit more. He wanted Partey. He wanted other players. He didn't get the backing. But if Arteta gets Arsenal in the title race to the last month of the season, last 4 to 6 games, and we're within 6 points or clear, within 6 points or so, with 4 to 6 games to go, then I'll shut up about Arteta and I'll be like buzzing. We're in a title race. See, that's what I wanted. I can't sit here and say, give me a title race for 7 years. And then when we're in one, if we're in one, then sit and cry again. No, that ain't me. I'll sit and say, fair play. I got it wrong with Arteta. He got me in a title race. Now let's go and win it. Yeah, well, now let's go and win it next season. Yeah, and then you'll be buzzing going into that next season. I think every Arteta doubter, Arteta out, whatever you want to call him, has said pretty much the same. Just get me in a title race. Yeah, and people who shoot down Gary Neville and people like that. He's right what he said. We were fourth last season. We're free to go and bottled it. So let's just calm down a little bit. They ain't proved nothing yet. It's 13 games. Yes, 13 games. There's still 25 to go after a World Cup. And we don't know what the situation is going to look like after that. So buzzing at the minute, though, I can't lie. Yeah, I was in a party the other night and there was a couple of Tottenham fans in there. And they were running them out. I said, just shut up, man. I said, don't even talk to me. Let's just go over there.
Mate, it's great at the moment.
But Dan, you know something, Lee? You know, the one thing about last season that what we have to remember, our start was the killer. I know we messed up after the international break and all that kind of thing against Palace. Was it Brighton and Southampton?
Brighton, Palace and Southampton, yeah.
You could say that, Dan, but the start was the killer. We were snookered right from the start. We're not anymore. So, you know, we've got a better group of players now, etc. So there's no excuses. Let's go for it.
Yeah, man. Let's go for it indeed. Listen, boys, absolute pleasure. First of all, KC, legend, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Really appreciate, you're always welcome here and on with me and Lee. And make sure you get over to the Hybrid Squad, people, and come support Kev and Sophie. 8 p.m. tonight. Make sure you're there. Do not miss it. Thank you, Kev, for coming on, my friend.
You're welcome, man.
Ghana, what you got going on, man? You must have some stuff. Lee Ghana, go and subscribe. What's happening?
My throat has been killing me since Friday, so I'm going to rest it. Just done the podcast with Kenny and Jez, and then came straight on there. I'm going to chop up some clips out of that and whack them out for tomorrow on the channel. But yeah, tomorrow I'm on with Terry on Football Terrace at 6 p.m. UK time, and then I'll probably do. Oh no, I'm on with Rants at 5 o'clock on my channel. So yeah, 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock I'll be active.
Cool.
Nice. Make sure you go and do the same thing. And please, guys, I'm literally 50 away from 6K. Please get me to 6K people on this stream. There's nearly 400 people watching. So hopefully we'll get that done by tonight. And yeah, up to 6K. Thank you so much for the support. Smash a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free to do so. And we'll see you next time. Arsenal are top of the league and us three are very happy. Take it easy. We'll see you soon.